Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Man killed in Salt Gully, St. Catherine. 45-year-old Kurt Nemard, a laborer of Salt Gully, St. Catherine, was shot and killed in his community by unknown assailants on Friday, March 18. Reports are that about 2:20 p.m., citizens heard explosions and summoned the police. Upon arrival of the police, Neham's body was seen along the roadway with gunshot wounds. The scene was processed and the body removed to the morgue. The police are investigating. Police seek 3 men in relation to the murder of female janitor. The police are seeking 3 men in connection with the death of 45-year-old Angela Forbes, otherwise called Yellow, a janitor of Southborough, St. Catherine. Forbes was shot and killed in Miranda Park, Southborough last week. Reports from the Bridgeton police are that about 11:45 a.m., Forbes had finished cleaning the Southborough Park and was in the area to hand over tools to a man when she went to visit her relatives. She was reportedly attacked by 3 armed men who opened gunfire at her. After police personnel were summoned, Forbes was seen laying on her back in a pool of blood with what appeared to be gunshot wounds to her body. She was transported to hospital where she was pronounced dead. The police are pursuing leads in the case. Man killed, woman assaulted during St. Elizabeth home invasion. A man was killed, another shot and injured, and a woman was sexually assaulted during a robbery in Nemardstown, St. Elizabeth on Sunday, March 20. The deceased has been identified as 29-year-old Jermaine Green, otherwise called Jimbo, a former of Nemardstown. Reports from the Junction police are that about 8:15 p.m., armed men invaded the family's home and demanded cash and cellular phones. A struggle ensued between Green and one of the gunmen, during which he was shot. A woman was also sexually assaulted during the ordeal. The robbers escaped with cell phones and an undetermined sum of cash. The police were summoned and the injured persons were taken to hospital, where Green was pronounced dead on arrival and the injured woman is being treated. The police are appealing to anyone with information that can assist investigators in locating the perpetrators of this heinous crime to contact the Black River Police at 876-965-2056, Police 119 emergency number, or the nearest police station. It was a particularly gruesome case. The Court of Appeal on Friday gave its reasons for upholding the sentence and conviction of the former forklift operator who is serving life for clubbing a senior citizen to death before dismembering, burning, and leaving her remains in Thetford Farm in Old Harbour, only to later put up a charade of grief and joint searches to locate her. The victim, Lois Barnes, was last seen alive on September 30, 2009, when she left her home in St. Thomas to visit her Wellside Lane property, where the convicted man, Clifton Harrison, who was at the time employed as a caretaker, lived. On October 2, 2009, the Old Harbour Police received information that led them to Telford Farm in Old Harbour, where they discovered burnt human remains, with parts of both legs and arms lying separately from the rest of the body. The cause of death for the corpse, which was at the time pointed as unidentified, was in the opinion of the pathologist due to blunt force injury to the head. Concerned relatives of Barnes on October 12 lodged a missing person report with the police. They visited the Wellside Lane property, where they noticed a bed in one of the rooms without a mattress. Harrison told the police that Barnes had instructed him to burn the mattress as it was infested with chinks, bed bugs. He also told the police that Barnes had visited the home and had left on 25th of September 2009 to Kingston en route to St. Thomas, and he had not seen her since. Forensic analysis of the dwelling, however, revealed bloody stains. Further tests showed that the burnt remains found at Tillman Farm were those of Barnes, and that she had been injured in the house of the Wellside Lane property. Harrison was convicted on January 27, 2017, following a trial that lasted several days before Justice David Fraser and the jury for the murder. He was sentenced to life imprisonment with the stipulation that he served 32 years before becoming eligible for parole. In pronouncing the sentence, the judge said that this was a particularly gruesome case. That description rested on the fact that the death resulted from being bludgeoned on the back of the head, dismembered, and burnt. The judge also noted that the murder was the ultimate breach of trust and further compounded by a heartless charade of pretending to help to locate Barnes, thereby giving the bereaved false hope of finding Miss Barnes alive. Harrison lost an initial appeal against his sentence and conviction in May 2020. A renewed application was made in 2021, at which point the judges reserved their decision. On Friday, appeal court judges, having arrived at their decision, dismissed Harrison's application to appeal his sentence and conviction. In their conclusion, the judges declared that evidence presented against Harrison at the trial was overwhelming. The learned judge gave unimpeachable directions to the jury. The jury's verdict of guilty, which followed, is supported by the breadth and depth of the evidence placed before them, making the conviction both safe and satisfactory. In our view, a consideration of the submissions made on behalf of the applicant left the jury's verdict unshakable. The application for leave to appeal against the conviction should therefore be refused, the court held. Further, it said the circumstances in which Miss Barnes was killed and her body desecrated warranted the imposition of the sentence of imprisonment for life. The learned judge's recommendation of the sentence to be served before the applicant's becoming eligible for parole was eminently justifiable. Accordingly, it should not be disturbed. Councillor candidate calls for ban on crayfish harvesting in Portland. Councillor candidate for the Fellowship Division in East Portland, Colin Bell, wants a 2-year ban on the harvesting of crayfish and any other wildlife living in the Rio Grande River so their numbers can be replenished. Bell said, particularly for crayfish, once the numbers are up, people would be set up with ponds along the Rio Grande Valley to farm and harvest while the population continues to grow in the wild. The native of the Rio Grande Valley has estimated that the crayfish population has been depleted by about 80%. It now costs between $1,500 and $2,000 per pound for crayfish, which causing people to overharvest wildlife whose population is dwindling in order to rake in big cash, Bell said. One of the most efficient but damaging way to catch crayfish is by contaminating the water with chlorine. Bell explained that when people add chlorine to the water, it becomes toxic for the crayfish, causing them to float to the water surface where they are easily caught. He said that crayfish heavy with eggs are also removed from the river using this method, wreaking havoc on the population. So they are catching the crayfish that would keep the population going. So after 2 years, when the river replenishes itself and we have it in abundance, we can start searching for the mother crayfish. He said those crayfish would be used to set up hatcheries where people can buy young crayfish to raise for harvesting. Bell has written to the National Environment and Planning Agency (NEPA), Director for Environmental Management and Conservation Anthony Mackenzie, asking for the ban on harvesting on all wildlife, in particular crayfish, in the Rio Grande Valley. So I am on a mission to save the crayfish because for me, it is also something that our people can gain wealth from. It is freshwater product, so it can be raised. When I was a little boy, I used to raise it, but we have to save it before we can raise it, he said. Bell argued that the people who would make a living off harvesting crayfish would be employed as wardens to protect them. He said that the ban would make it illegal for anyone to have crayfish in their possession, including the wardens. He pointed out that once the crayfish population is back up to the harvesters, turned wardens would get assistance to develop their ponds to raise their own crayfish. If one man can sell 1,000 pounds of crayfish for $1,500 per pound, that is $1.5 million. We can generate wealth for the people living in the Rio Grande Valley, he pointed out. He said that he has spoken to Maroons in the area who are on board with the idea of banning harvesting of any wildlife in the river. According to Bell, the Maroons are looking for the people responsible for contaminating the water with chlorine. In the meantime, the NEPA said that they received a letter from Bell. However, the Environment Protection Agency said the matter does not fall under their jurisdiction. 5,000 students to begin coding classes this month. Approximately 5,000 students who registered for the National Coding in Schools program are expected to begin training this month. Managing Director of software firm Amber Group Limited, which is partnering with the Education and Youth Ministry to conduct the training, Michael, said the students will be engaged in sessions 2 to 3 hours per week over a 2 or 3 months period. A total of 400,000 students from grades 1 to 13 in public schools across Jamaica will benefit from the initiative, which was launched by Prime Minister Andrew Holness in November last year. It follows a successful pilot, which was conducted virtually in 20 schools and involved the engagement of approximately 2,000 students in grades 4 and 9. The objective is to equip students to compete in an increasingly technological-driven world. A total of 15,000 teachers will also be trained to deliver the curriculum to students up to grade 9 under a Train the Trainer program. The training for the first cohort of approximately 900 teachers has been completed. Because the students are engaged with their teachers on the ground, we thought it was critical that teachers are also exposed to the transformative aspects of coding, he stated. He further stated that the objective is to embark on a significant knowledge transform program to empower more teachers to deliver the subject on their own so that the knowledge base that is vested in them as practitioners who teach coding will be transferred to academics in our public schools. Chief Executive Officer of the Digital Foundation, which is sponsoring the rollout of the Coding in Schools program, Charmaine Daniels, stated that the teachers will be trained to facilitate basic coding lessons. When the students get to grade 10, then those classes will be delivered online by master programmers to teach the students who want it as a career, she said. After completing sixth form, the students will receive certification from the Heart and STA Trust, with the top performers to benefit from paid internships at Amber Group Limited and the Digital Foundation. All the students will have the option of furthering their studies at the Amber Heart Academy in Stony Hill. The facility, located at the Stony Hill Heart Academy in St. Andrew, was launched by the Prime Minister in January 2021 with a 5-year goal of training 20,000 Jamaicans to become software producers. Already, the institution is facilitating its second cohort of 50 students between the ages of 18 and 25 years in the classroom. We're looking forward to the third cohort for those candidates now being selected, he stated. Meanwhile, with the lifting of coronavirus COVID-19 restrictions, the partner are looking to accelerate the training. Michael said that the Ministry of Education and Youth is doing a good job in terms of getting the teachers and students enrolled. Grade 3 teacher from the Tollgate Primary School in Clarendon, Renee Rose Grandison, who is currently undergoing training at the Heart and STA Trust, said she's excited about including more technological content in her lesson plans. She said that technology is something that children love and gravitate towards. I can just imagine what my sessions with my students will be like with all this new knowledge that I will get from the program to include technology in the delivery of the activities and so on, she noted. The Amber Innovations Group includes approximately 300 software engineers who have provided solutions for companies in banking, insurance, security, tourism, health, energy, among other sectors. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.